to help other women.
She is currently studying nutrition, is also a vegan, and loves the planet and finds sustainability super important. Coming to your lounge room all the way from Canada. Please make Cassandra feel welcome and have your workbook and pen ready as you are about to take a lot of notes.
Hey everyone, I'm Cassandra. I've been with Senegence for 3 years, and I'm here to train you guys today about product knowledge, but specifically why it's so key in your business. So I'm going to jump right into it. I want this training to be full of great takeaways and things that you can apply right away to your business, because for me, I think it's one of the most important things when it comes to building trust and good relationships with your clients.
To start off, I have a few key points about why product knowledge is so key. So customer trust and distributor confidence, they go hand in hand. Building your own trust by learning about the products you use. So that means every time you use a product and you learn about it, you further like your love for Senegence and like your impressiveness with it and by it. And making yourself better able to meet your clients' needs by knowing what you're talking about and knowing what products will potentially solve their problems or offer solutions for them, for their skin, for their makeup, etc. So customer trust and distributor confidence.
So customer trust and distributor confidence. So this is the first point that I made there. Think of your interactions with your customers,
salespeople that you've had in the past,
and think of the really uncomfortable ones and the really comfortable ones. Usually the really comfortable ones were the ones where you walk into a certain store, you're looking for something specific, and the salesperson knows what you're looking for, goes right to it, makes that transaction really simple and really easy for you. That is the kind of easy and comfortable relationship that I am trying to help you guys with this presentation. So think of your interactions when you are interacting with your customer base.
What did you like about your
personal interactions with salespeople, and what did you dislike, and kind of find your own groove when it comes to customer service from there. Knowing what you have with regards to Senegence products is really helpful when you're asked questions by your customers in regards to their problems, because usually your customers will approach you with problems. They'll say something like, I have really dry skin on my cheeks, so you might recommend something like non-guy oil. But if you don't know what non-guy oil is, it's really hard to make a recommendation. And having a little bit of knowledge behind that can help you
explain why it might be a really great choice for
them for their skin.
This also really helps to build trust with your customers.
So if they feel like you know what you're talking about, then they will feel like you can help them and solve their problem for them. And again, your knowledge does not have to be extensive. So lots of people think product knowledge and they think they need to know every little thing about every little product that they are recommending to their clients. And that's just really not the truth, especially when you're beginning. You want to make sure that the key products that you are selling or that are popular, especially like our climate control, our color correcting tinted moisturizer, mascara, lip scents, you want to know 3 key things about them, and not just about them, because rattling off facts sometimes can be kind of distracting. But 3 problems they solve. So for example, with lip scents stays on, so it doesn't rub off, which is a problem that lots of people have. It doesn't dry out your lips. It's really hydrating, and you can wear a glossy shine over top, because usually liquid lipsticks are really mattified, but you can choose with Senegence. And it also comes in just a variety of extensive colors, and it's really great, and it lasts a long time. So it's smudge proof, it lasts a long time, and you can keep your lips really hydrated with it on. So you just solved 3 of people's problems with lip products.
You also want to make sure that you're using the products for yourself.
And this is a really great way to expand your product knowledge. So you don't have to go into the back office and read the entire product knowledge guide. I mean, you can. It's great information, but you don't have to do that to get good product knowledge. You can just touch the products, feel the products, put them on, and feel for yourself which ones you like, which ones you don't like, what kind of skin you have,
have and how it improved, or what you didn't like about it, so that when people tell you about their skin, you can make recommendations based on your experiences, and having a testimony is really, really helpful. So learning about the products that make up your routine helps you also build a lot of trust in Synogen. So I have a skincare routine, I have like a all over face makeup routine, I kind of do my makeup the same way aside from my eyes every day, unless I'm recording a video, right? So I have a lineup of products that I know and trust and love, and my skin's really dry, so it's easier for me to think of maybe what products might be better for someone with a different skin type than me. And just using those products and having those products tangible in your hands can really, really help you to build that trust and build your knowledge.
When you have lots of trust in the products,
and then of course when you have lots of trust in the products, and when your knowledge is getting better, your customers' trust gets deeper, and they trust you more about the products, especially once they start to try them.
When starting out, there's always a big, like,
when you're new, there's always a big, like, well, I want to buy everything, and you can't always afford to get everything all at once. So I always recommend once a month, grab yourself a new product. Our products last forever. Like, I mean, you guys must know if you've had some products from Synogen.
Concealer or my CCTM
lasts me 3 to 4 months. So you can usually afford to buy like a new product each month, or refill a product that you've been loving, and just to give it a try and find it out whether or not it suits your skin. It doesn't suit your skin, what you liked about it, what you disliked about it, and then you can build your skincare and your makeup routine from there, and build your trust and your customer trust from there.
So another thing about product knowledge is that
it's
necessary for meeting your clients' needs.
So necessary for meeting your clients' needs. Your clients are going to come to you once they start to like build some trust in you, especially online. We're doing a lot of videos and a lot of Facebook parties and a lot of information parties now. But they're still going to come to you, and they're still going to have questions. So when you have those like key things in your mind from products that you've used, or from products that you've read about or studied about, and they ask you a question that's related to one of those products, you're going to be able to find it in that little memory bank of yours and let them know about it. And that knowledge is so helpful for meeting your clients' needs.
And again, when you're getting started, learning
a few key things about a few key products goes a long way when you're helping out your friends and family and new customers, because usually they're not coming to you right off the bat and asking you about like retinol and how well it's going to work. I mean,
but most of the time
somebody might, but most of the time they're just going to want to know about the few key things that they already use in their makeup routine. So most people use some sort of a base of a foundation or a color correcting tinted moisturizer or CC cream, BB cream, whatever they call it, or they use a mascara and a lip. So focusing on those key products at first, and those key things that those products do, is really going to help you in your customer service aspect. So it's going to help you meet your clients' needs. So when they come to you and they ask you a question about their basic makeup routine, you're going to be able to answer it because you're going to either have used these products or studied these products, and it just really helps that back and forth with you and your customer. You can also be really helpful in this. If someone asks you a question, you can reply with a question. So if someone says, well, what do you think would be good for my skin type?
I use this product and I really wanted to try one of yours.
And I really wanted to try one of yours. What do you think would be best for me? You can use simple and effective questions like, what is your skin type like? Could I have a selfie of you facing natural lighting so I can see the color of your skin and what I might recommend for a color? Do you like to wear lip color? Do you like to wear a glossy lip? Do you like to wear just naked natural lips? Like, then you can recommend the lip balm, right? You want to make sure that you're asking simple questions to them as well to help identify your clients' key needs, and then you can use your knowledge, your product knowledge, to help satisfy those needs as well.
So it's helpful to have key products in mind. Personal questions so that you can find out their true needs,
so that you can find out their true needs, and then you can solve their problems with your product knowledge.
So growing your knowledge is another place.
We've talked a lot about starting off in those key products and starting with like a small base and then moving up from there. You want to use the tools that you have at your disposal. So the beauty book is literally made for your product knowledge benefit. It is such an incredible tool. It is a useful tool for demos. It is a useful tool for literally everything. You can send it to your customers, you can keep it for yourself, you can have one always on hand. And I highly recommend at the beginning to always have one really close by when you're chatting with a customer, whether you have it on your phone or you have it in a physical form. Having that really close by is so helpful to learn about product knowledge, because when you're answering questions and you're teaching about the product knowledge that you're reading about, it helps you to absorb it way better as well. So there's the beauty book, there's the product knowledge guide in the back. You also have your team, like your upline, as well as your corporate leaders. They are always your corporate staff. They're always willing to help you with your product knowledge as well. So if you have a specific question about your product knowledge, or if you want to learn something more and you work better like on a one-to-one basis, ask your fellow distributors, ask what everybody likes to use, and just keep yourself always learning.
I have written here growing your knowledge.
I have written here growing your knowledge to learn a few things about top sellers to begin with, which we've talked about already. So also learn what problems the items solve versus just getting wordy with facts, which is what I said before. So learning about the problems that they solve is going to help it stick in your mind way better. So for climate control, you don't necessarily need to know all the ingredients and what each of those ingredients do. But lots of people know what hyaluronic acid is. So knowing that there's sodium hyaluronic in it, and that it helps with redness, and that it can be really moisturizing, it teaches your skin to hold on to that moisture. It works really well in conjunction with non-guy oil because it teaches your skin to hold on to that moisture, and all that extra moisture really helps with anti-aging. So just knowing what problems it solves. So it's anti-inflammatory, it helps with redness, it's really hydrating, it helps your skin hold on to more moisture, and that's a problem that a lot of people have, especially where I live. And kind of what products it works in conjunction with, those things will stick in your mind way better than if you're just memorizing the ingredients and what all the ingredients do on a scientific level. Some of you, that might be like your jam, and like you love the science of all the products, and that's super cool, but most of the customers that you're going to come into contact with, they just want to know what the benefits are going to be for their skin, and they want to know what problems it's going to solve that something else that they've tried before did not solve. So learning about those key problem solvers is so important when you're learning about different products. Color correcting tinted moisturizer, for example, it corrects redness with green concealer in it. So if you have redder cheeks or if you have some blemishes, it's going to color correct those in addition to providing some sheer coverage. So that's two problems that it solves. It provides some coverage and it helps with redness. What other problems does it solve? It's hydrating. It evens out your skin tone. It protects against the sun. There's so many things that these products do that solve problems versus just all the ingredients that are inside them. You might get questions eventually about what ingredients are inside them, but again, you can refer back to the beauty book. And product knowledge doesn't have to be just you memorizing the ingredients and what they do. It's so helpful for you to know what products can address your customers' concerns, and that's where that bond and relationship is going to happen with your clients, because once they start to trust you and they make their first couple purchases and then the products do what you say that they're going to do, because we all know that Senator's products do what we say that they're going to do, they're going to build that more and more trust, and they're going to have more and more questions about other things for their different problems. Like when they come to you and they're like, oh, I tried the climate control and color correcting tinted moisturizer and I love it, but my skin's still feeling a little bit dry, and I also have bags under my eyes. Well, you can be like, oh, well, let's add the non-guy oil to that, and we also have our under eye treatment, and that's really, really helpful. So the more that you learn about what problems that the products solve, the more you can offer to your clients, and the more confident you will feel helping them address their skincare needs and their makeup needs.
And again, I'm going to reiterate this a lot. When you're
Start small.
You don't have to
when
learn
you're new,
everything about
you don't have to learn everything about everything. But ask your upline. Do a posting in your group if you've got like a Facebook group with your upline. If you don't, reach out to a random distributor and be like, what are your top 5 selling products? Like, what are your favorite products? And learn the problems
that those solve. 5 key products.
Of like those five key products. So I always
tell my downline to do mascara, color correcting tinted moisturizer, climate control, lip sense, and then to pick one of their choice that they would buy that they absolutely feel like they need. I always say lip balm because everybody needs lip balm, especially again where I live. It is so cold and it is so dry. Those lip balms are absolutely amazing. And again, don't need to know all the ingredients. All I know is that they actually penetrate and hydrate your lips, and they're not super waxy like chapstick. So it's going to be absorbed into your lips versus coat them. And as soon as I tell people that, they're like, oh, that would be perfect.
What problems do those products solve?
What problems do those products solve?
So you don't need to know everything.
So you don't need to know everything to make sales. So don't make the mistake of taking all this knowledge that I'm telling you and saying like, okay, well, I can't sell any product until I know more about it. That's not true. You just need a little bit at a time. You don't need to know everything in order to make sales. But throughout time, you're going to gain more and more product knowledge as long as you're open to learning more and more and more. So every time a new product comes out, I just learn a little bit about it, and then when I have a customer that wants to buy it, I learn a little bit more about it. Like, you don't need to know absolutely everything in order to be successful and in order to
large amounts of sales. You just need to
large amounts of sales. You just need to know enough to help solve your customers' problems. You're going to hear me say that 1,000 times.
And even on my slide, it says focus on problem solving.
And even on my slide, it says focus on problem solving.
And you can ask your customers a ton of questions.
And you can ask your customers a ton of questions.
You can also wow with problem solving.
With problem solving. So usually when you think of wowing, you think of our Sena sisters wearing their stripes on their hands and rubbing them and being like, wow, it doesn't come off. But you can also wow with our other products. So I use lip sense as an example as well. But what problem does lip sense solve? I said at the beginning, it doesn't smudge.
It stays on
doesn't budge. It stays on for a really long time, 4 to 18 hours, depending on your body chemistry and your pH level. And it also can be really well hydrated, and you can put whatever glosses you want over top, so you can really change your lip sense look depending on what you like. And what problems does our undersense and our lash sense solve? Okay, so undersense, it immediately solves volume. It gives you lots of volume. And lash sense solves length. So you can wow like that. You can be like, oh wow, like, look at my eyelashes.
This is the before and the after, and you can
this is the before and the after, and you can show that you problem solved. And you had like thin and short lashes beforehand, but now that you've put the undersense and the lash sense on, people are going to be like, wow, that's amazing. And that's a problem that people have that you just solved. So using wowing to solve those problems, and right now we're social distance, you can do it in video form. That's going to be really helpful. And you're using your product knowledge to do that. What do you know about our products and what they do? What does CCTM do? Again, it color corrects redness as well as providing sheer coverage. So what you can do is if you're having a really red face day, like I often do as a ginger, I will put color correcting tinted moisturizer on half my face, and I'll show how it corrects the redness. And I will show people, and I will wow with product knowledge. I will wow with problem solving. So it's really, really helpful to use your product knowledge and what you know about what problems that these products solve in order to wow your customers and show them what the products can do. So you can do videos to wow, you can keep it really simple, and it does, again, not too wordy with facts, right? What are the problems that it solves? What does it do? And then keep it simple like that, and then your clients are going to get enticed. And they're going to
a few things about the products and answer
a few things about the products and answer a few questions that they have. And again, you guys can always
about
if someone has a question about a product and you don't necessarily know the answer, you, especially with our technology-focused life right now, you can pretend you didn't quite see the message yet, go look in your beauty book and read a little bit about it and then answer their question. And I mean, it's a little bit harder when someone's face-to-face with you and asking a question. But again, you can just pick up your beauty book and go from there. And people like seeing that you're real well, and that like even if you're new, you're willing to work for them, and you're willing to look it up, and you care about them, and you care about their needs, and you care about what they're asking you. So don't be afraid to pick up your beauty book to answer a question.
Especially when you start wowing them with our products.
Especially when you start wowing them with our products, you're going to have questions. You're going to have people that are going to want to know more about what you have to offer.
And education and customer service
also go hand in hand. So you can handle questions better and provide better customer service when you yourself are better educated. So when you spend more time educating yourself on the products, and when you spend more time educating others on the products, you're going to retain that knowledge in addition to help your clients out. So you can do this whether you have people reaching out to you with questions or not.
For example, if you have your social media and you're using it right now, as we kind of all are, in order to run our businesses, we can easily go live, or we can go on our stories, and we can educate people about a product a week and like what it does and the problems that it solves. And this product knowledge and this education is so helpful for customer service. It's serving your customers and asking for nothing back, right? So educating people are always looking for free education versus just people trying to sell to them. So a lot of us make the mistake of focusing on price and saying like, oh, it's only this much, or I'm doing a sale, but instead of focusing on what this product can do for them to solve a problem. So using your education so helpful for them,
so helpful for you, and in the long term, it's really going to help you sell more product and have more trust from your customers. A quote that I always use is, if you want to sell a drill, you have to teach someone how to drill a hole, because it's not necessarily about the drill, it's not about the item, it's not about the CCTM, it's what the CCTM can do for them. So again, that focus on problem solving.
Educating yourself weekly.
So educating yourself
picking a product
weekly
for you and your
and
team
picking a product for you and your team to learn about, that could be really helpful. So if you don't have a team, that's fine. You can also, as I said before, you can teach your customers or just teach yourself. But do a challenge with your team and talk about one product per week that you guys want to learn about, and what you love about it, and another person's opinion about it. What did they hate about it? What didn't work with their skin? What kind of skin did they have? And work together and chat together about what these products can do for different skin types, what you learned, what more can you learn, what you're missing, and doing this as a group or doing it with your customers or doing it yourself is just so helpful in the future. Again, with educating your clients, taking your knowledge that you've learned from someone else and teaching it to someone else is really, really helpful to your customer base as well as to your team. So using your education is
awesome for your team and awesome for your customers.
It's awesome for your team and awesome for your customers.
So, as I said before, educating others helps you to retain more knowledge.
More knowledge. And that's why it's usually see one,
in life,
do one, teach one in life, right? So you watch videos or you look at your beauty book, and then you do it, you talk to customers, and then you teach. You can teach your team, you can teach your customers, and that's what's going to help you retain more product knowledge and help you use that product knowledge to grow your business.
Okay, so we're already at the takeaways. I told you guys I talk so fast. Why is it important?
Why is it important?
Right?
Customer service. And honestly, the best businesses, they don't need thousands of customers.
They need
to come one time. They need regular customers that trust them,
like a customer base
that will continue to subscribe to your emails, that will continue to subscribe to your information. And good customer service equals more sales and more frequent sales, and good customer service comes with providing them with the education and information that they need, and problem solving and solving the problems that they're having in order to provide that excellent customer service. It really
really helps build a relationship with them, and it really helps with trust. Also, product knowledge helps with your trust.
So when
it
you're
helps
using the
you.
products and when you're
So
learning
when
about
you're
them,
using the products and when you're learning about them, if you have a skin problem, or if you say you're
right now, you're starting to
like
get
me,
more
and in the winter right now, you're starting to get more blemishes, your skin is dry and itchy, you're going to be searching for products that will help with your problems. So when you start to look through our product knowledge guide or our beauty book for those products that are really going to help you are going to trust Senegence more, and you're going to lock that info into your brain, and then you're going to teach it to someone else, and it just really helps to form that relationship with Senegence and the products that you're using and why you love them so much.
This excellent customer
And then in
service
turn,
and your own trust
this excellent customer service and your own trust is going to turn into awesome customer trust, which is fantastic. As I said many times, your beauty book, your product knowledge guide, and your uplines, area managers, corporate, there's so many different resources for you to learn your product knowledge, and it is so important to utilize those resources. Beauty book especially, I feel like it's just condensed in the most perfect way.
And the beauty book has
some of the problems that it solves, which is really, really helpful, especially in the beginning. The product knowledge guide is way more in depth, and it's really, really
of information. Like it's huge.
Full of information. Like it's huge. But it's really helpful. So if you feel like you've gone past the beauty book, you want to learn all there is to learn, you want to learn more, then go into the product knowledge guide. And your uplines, if you have a quick question or you want to have their take on things or their opinion, or if they have a different skin type than you do, and they can offer you some knowledge there, it's really, really helpful. And then, of course, your area managers and your corporate, if you ever have any questions that you feel have gone unanswered, you can send an email off to corporate, and they can definitely answer them for you. Getting good at recommendations is so helpful. I actually have a story for you guys when it comes to recommendations, and it was kind of like an aha moment for me. A couple of years ago, I was helping a customer. She had thrown out all her eyeshadow, and she wanted a whole bunch of different colors of shadow scents.
Normally, I would just send her graphics.
And she would choose her eyeshadows. But instead, I don't know why I did this, but I said, what kind of colors did you wear before? So I asked a key question, and she told me like browns, neutrals, pinks, and I went and I chose 8 shadow scents for her that were in that neutral shade, and I showed them to her. I made them a little bit bigger, and I showed her like that they matched the kind of the colors that she used to use before, because that way she's comfortable with these colors, and then even though she's using a new product, they're colors that she's familiar with, and because I made that recommendation, she bought all 8 shadow scents, and the interaction only took about 20 minutes. So it lowered the amount of time I was spending with the customer, and I feel like the customer gets overwhelmed when you send them like a giant graphic of things that they can choose from, because our shadows, like, they aren't in a palette. So getting really good at recommendations when your client comes to you and is like, oh, I don't know what to get, but like I have this, and this, and they list off a list of problems. You can pull those problems along with you, and you can be like, oh, hey, like, well, have you tried this? You should try this, this, and this based on these problems that you gave me. And giving those recommendations, it helps the customer shopping experience. I mean, you're always going to have customers that are going to want to shop for themselves, and you're always going to want to have customers that aren't really going to want to have that interaction, so you can always send them to your website and they can choose for themselves. But there are also a lot of customers that really require that feedback. So getting really good at those recommendations. Asking those key questions, solving those problems, and being a really great source of knowledge for them is so helpful. So I'll say those takeaways again, because I know I went on a tangent there and kind of talked your ears off, and that's how I am. So why it's important, customer service, your own trust and customer trust, where you can learn it, back off is beauty book, uplines, corporate, area managers, and then getting good at recommendations, asking those key questions, solving those problems, and just really focusing on customer service, because that's really what product knowledge is for. It's to provide really excellent customer service. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I'm so thankful to be here and to be watching all these amazing trainings, and as well as for you guys watching mine. I'm so thankful. So I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your event, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Brianna has been with Synergence for a little over 4 years now.
She was born and raised a city girl, but now lives in a small town in Kentucky, along with her husband and daughter, who is the sassiest and smartest girl ever created. She is very grateful for this company and the amazing humans it has brought into her life. We are excited to have her present to you today, as she has grown as a person and as a makeup and skincare coach, thanks to Synergence.
Brianna
Hey,
here.
Cinefam, Brianna here, and I'm here to talk to you about
foundation
skin tones and foundation and how to match
spectrums of skin tone from the very
spectrums of skin tone from the very pale porcelain to your deep dark browns and blacks.
Just
let's
hop into
just hop into it. The first thing
you want to do when you're talking to your
customer
have the conversation. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable or awkward to have a conversation, especially when you're working with skin tones you're not typically used to working with. We're taught a lot about our medium range, and it's taken a lot of practice for me personally to step out of that comfort zone and work with people with very pale skin and very dark skin. So the first thing I want you to do is to just understand and have the conversation and kind of just embrace the awkwardness a little bit. You're going to be golden by the end of it.
You're going to be golden by the end of it, I promise. So have the conversation with them. What kind of skin do they have? Oily, dry, normal. What kind of texture do they have? Do they have more mature skin? Do they have fine line wrinkles? Do they have things like acne scarrings or other kinds of scarrings?
And then
those kinds of questions. And then what is their focus? What result do they want when they're looking for a foundation? And those questions are really going to help you. First of all, just get over that hump of awkwardness when you're trying to color match somebody, especially if it's on a stranger. And
it's just going to make everybody, both you and your customer, a little more comfortable when you've already just gotten over that. So that hump. Really quickly. So most skin tone are types. You're going to want to work with our original Make Sense foundation. Our anti-aging foundation has a lot more moisture in it. So I typically only recommend those for those who are very, very dry, or for those who have a little more mature skin and need that extra moisture to kind of plump up their skin. So typically you're going to want to work with just the original formula of the Make Sense foundation. And then before you do if you are doing
color matching, if you are doing it in person, you do want to make sure you have a nice foundation for the foundation. So skin prep, have them come with clean, fresh skin.
Do your moisturizers, your sun protectants.
If they do it on their own, that's cool. Or you can help do it for them. And then always prime the skin. Always prime the skin.
So really quickly, give you a
overview of what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about the keys, the basics on how to color match.
Placement of the product.
So the placement of the product, where you kind of want to put your swatches to see what's going to work best. You're going to always want to use about 3 to 4 shades when you're color matching, just to be sure that everything is looking the way it should.
I want you to
be open to potentially, and this is where the swatching with more than 1 or 2 shades is going to come into play. You potentially may need to
brain part.
Foundation
mix.
shades. So you might get
foundation shades. So you might get a shade that's good for their tone.
But it doesn't necessarily work for their
undertone. But it doesn't necessarily work for their undertone. So you may need to be working with a little mixture, which is totally fine. I personally can work with mixtures. I can also wear just one plain. Kind of depends on the season. So I want you to be open and understanding that if you put your 3 or 4 shades of your potential foundation colors on, and it doesn't quite work, you can still work around it. I don't want you to give up
really
too quickly, or really, I don't want you to give up at all. Okay.
Then the two main focuses.
Then the two main focuses.
And the two main focuses that you'll use.
And the two main focuses that you'll use when you are color matching is identifying the skin tone, which is your surface color, and then identifying the undertone, which is the hue that lays underneath the skin. So those are two different things, and that's why that potential to have to mix your shades comes in. So they're two different things, and they're two very important key things that you're going to need to identify in order to get a great foundation match.
So my next slide, quick.
My next slide, quick. Wow.
Our next slide, quick.
I can talk.
Tips.
Our next slide, quick tips.
Please
Throw out. Please.
Matching foundation on.
Matching foundation on the back of the hand.
Wrist.
Or the wrist.
So, brain fart. So the back of the hand and your inner wrist.
The back of the hand and your inner wrist. These are always going to be two different shades, especially when you're looking at somebody with very, very dark skin tone. This part of their body does not anywhere match the rest of their skin. So no more color matching on your wrist. I think that's a very old thing, and I don't think that maybe a lot of us even remember being told that. But when I was growing up, I was definitely told to match foundation shade to the inner part of my wrist, and it's never going to work out well for you. And as well as the back of your hands, a lot of us don't tend to put, a lot of humans don't tend to remember to sunscreen up and protect their hands, so their hands may actually be darker than their face.
Speaking of, you may need to
even go as far down as matching to the neck and the décolleté, especially when you get someone who is very, very pale or very, very dark. Your neck
scientifically doesn't have as much melanin
doesn't have as much melanin in it, so it is going to be a little lighter. It's also blocked from your face, so it's not going to develop as much color. So you kind of have a color here, a color here, and a color here, and you have a very big gradients of color. You're going to need to figure out where it is that you're going to want to match your client or your customer. So if their chest is very dark, you may have to match to the chest with your face and teach them how to go down the neck into the décolleté when actually applying your foundation.
Definitely when you're swatching, you want
to take the time to blend the color. It seems a little obvious, but don't just swipe the swatch on and kind of let it go. That's not how we apply foundation to our whole face. So definitely make sure you blend that color out nice and soft as if you were applying it to their whole face. That way you'll get a much clearer idea of what that foundation color is going to end up looking like at the end when it's kind of softened.
So the other thing
speaking of blending, is you're going to need to wait a few minutes. After you've swatched, after you've blended, you're going to need to wait
5 minutes and
a couple minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and allow the foundation to oxidize. Our foundations do oxidize, and they tend to oxidize a little darker. And you'll notice if you when you practice is that they oxidize with a different tone. A little bit, not all of them, some of them. So allow a little bit of time to let the foundation sit and then take a look at your match and see where you are.
So let's first start with identifying the skin tone.
So this here is a very simple scale you can find online. That tells you the 1 to 6 skin tone types. That
pretty much all of the humans on the earth will fall into. So it's kind of self-explanatory, but you'll have your fair types who will always burn. Those are your porcelains, your very, very pale ivory, beautiful,
that they'll always burn. They have a hard time tanning.
They'll always burn. They have a hard time tanning. If they do burn, it doesn't turn into a tan. That's your very fair. And they'll burn very easily.
May burn.
Your light types
may not burn.
May burn.
Almost always will turn into a tan.
Almost always will turn into a tan.
Your medium types. A lot of us are used to working with this
between 2 and 4 here. So your medium types usually don't have to worry about burning very often. If we do burn, it practically immediately turns into a tan. And there's not a lot of, we don't have a lot of sensitivity to our skin. Your olive types will have
a year-round tan.
They will have a year-round tan. That's your olive.
It's beautiful.
I love olive skin. It's beautiful.
And it is always
special and wonderful. And it is always going to kind of have that same tone year-round.
Your brown types.
Your brown types?
Yes, olives, browns.
Did I say mediums? Yes, olives, browns next.
Do not burn very
easily.
Your
brown types do not burn very easily, and neither do your dark types.
Different types.
They are two different types, but the brown and the dark, they don't tend to burn, but they can still always recommend sunscreen.
Those are your skin.
Those are your skin tones. So.
Just went blank. So 1 through 6. That's where you start.
1 through 6. That's where you start.
The next thing you're going to want to identify is the undertone of the skin.
So the undertone is a subtle muted color that lies underneath the skin, kind of like a shadow or the hue of the skin.
This is something that's not going to change.
This is something that's not going to change. Your skin tone, your shade, your 1 through 6, those can kind of change depending on what
sun exposure
season it is, how much sun exposure they're getting. Those can change. Okay, your undertone never changes. It always is going to be what it is, no matter how light or dark you are.
And you do need to make sure you're
looking past things like rosacea or hyper or hypopigmentation,
things like that.
Things like that. Any just vein redness. You have to look past that to find the undertone or that little hue and shadow that lies under the skin.
And I think that most
so there are 3 undertones, and I think that most of us know this by now. We have our warms, our cools, and our neutrals.
There's quite a few different ways to
identify an undertone. So I'm just going to teach you the 2 easiest ways and not go way far out there in left field. I kind of wanted to make this as simple and
rememberable. That's not a word, but we're going to make it a word tonight.
That's not a word, but we're going to make it a word tonight.
Okay.
As possible.
So obviously, our beautiful beauty book does this.
You look at the veins of your client, your customer's skin, the veins of their wrist. They're either going to be blue,
purple,
or green,
and olive.
Or green and olive.
If you're like me,
or
when I was first learning
how to identify undertones, I looked at my wrist and I went,
I can't tell the difference.
I don't know.
And
I can't tell the difference.
I have a neutral undertone.
And then I realized I have a neutral undertone.
Key point, little hint, if you look at and you're trying to identify
an undertone with one of these ways and you go, I don't know, they're probably neutral. Okay.
And the other way is jewelry.
Your customer is either going to prefer
or they're just going to
a type of jewelry, or they're just going to appear to look better in a type of jewelry. And by that I mean your gold or your silver.
And prefer both.
And of course, if they look and prefer both, then they're going to be a neutral. Okay, those are the 2 easiest ways. There are other ways that you can Google out there. But in my experience, doing this and then talking about their jewelry preferences or just looking at them and seeing what kind of jewelry they have on that day, that's really going to help you the best and the easiest without getting it too confusing. let's talk about
Okay.
our three.
Let's talk
tones.
about
I don't know
our
what,
three
what was
tones.
happening right there.
I don't
but
know
we're
what
just
that,
gonna-
what was happening
go
right there,
with it.
but we're
So
go
we
with it.
have our warm undertones.
So we have our warm
In
undertones.
your warm tones, the vein
In
test will
your
appear,
warm tones, the vein
green
test
or
will
olive.
appear
Their
green
jewelry
or olive.
preference will
Their
be
jewelry
gold.
preference will be
And the
gold.
appearance of the skin,
And the appearance of the skin, the hues of the skin, the shadow of the skin, all the same kind of words.
Golden, yellow,
They're going to be
peachy,
golden,
honey.
yellow,
Those are gonna
peachy,
be
honey.
your warm
Those are going to be your
undertones.
warm skin
Okay.
undertones.
And,
okay.
quick tip.
And
the things to avoid.
quick tip.
If
The things
you
to
have
avoid.
picked a foundation that
If
is
you
too
have
warm,
picked a foundation that is
you are
too
going
warm,
to notice that they take on
you are going to notice that they take on
an
a
orange hue.
an orange hue.
Sometimes even red. Which I
sometimes
noticed the
even
other
red.
day. So that's
Which
just,
I noticed the other day.
That's just
so
a,
that's
like a little,
just
hey, that's too warm.
just a
okay?
like a little hey, that's too warm. Okay.
Then you have your cool tones.
Then you have your cool tones. Your cool tones are
blue or purple.
the veins are going to look
The
blue or
jewelry is
purple.
going to be a preference of
The
silver.
jewelry is going to be a preference
and
of silver.
Their hue, shadow,
And their
of their
hue,
skin
shadow
is going to
of
have
their
like a
skin
pink
is going
or
to
red
have like
or
a pink or
blue,
red or
kind of tone to
blue
it.
kind of tone to it.
And the things you do
Okay.
want to be very
And the
careful
things you do
of
want to
with
be
this-
very
these cool
careful
tones
of
is
with this,
going
these cool
ashy
tones
or
is
gray.
going
And
ashy or
honestly,
gray.
you will notice
and
that from the
honestly,
very, very
you will
pale
notice that
side
from
of
the
the
very,
spectrum
very
to the
pale
very, very
side
dark
of the
side of the
spectrum
spectrum.
to the
If you
very,
go
very
too
dark
cool,
side of the
it's
spectrum.
going to
If you go
turn
too
kind of
cool, it's going to turn
ashy
kind of
gray, just
ashy
it's
gray.
gonna look real healthy.
Just it's not
kind
going
of
to look
color.
real healthy.
Then you know that you have
kind
gone
of color.
too cool.
Then you know that you have gone too cool, and you
Okay.
kind of need to adjust your
And I'm going
shades.
to talk to you a little bit more about how to adjust.
And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how to adjust if you
result.
end up with that kind of
And then
result.
your neutral tones, like me.
And then your neutral tones,
you
like
can't
me,
tell
you
what color
can't
veins we have.
tell what color veins we
We are
have.
kind of lucky that we can wear
We are kind of lucky that we can wear
spectrum of
I would say a
tones because
broader
we're a little bit
spectrum
easier
of
to
tones
balance out
because we're a little bit
already
easier
neutral.
to balance out
So
because
just
we're
adding a
already
little hint
neutral.
here and there, or
So
just
just adding a
using
little hint here and there, or just using a neutral, one of the neutral shades, they'll work for us.
So the vein test is going to
So
look
the vein test
blue and
is going
green,
to look
which is what mine was.
blue and green,
Or is,
which is
I
what
guess
mine
I should
was.
say I am alive.
Or is, I guess I should say I am alive.
The jewelry will prefer both
The
gold
jewelry
and
will
silver
prefer
and will look
both gold
stellar
and
in
silver
both.
and will look
And our
stellar in
appearance
both. And
doesn't
our
really
appearance
have an
doesn't
extra
really
little
have
shadow
an,
or hue
an
to it. It kind of
extra
just,
little shadow or hue to it. It kind of
looks
just,
neutral.
hey, it looks neutral.
So the thing to avoid is,
So the thing
even
to
though we
avoid
are
is,
really
even
able
though
to
we are
use,
really
a
able to
wider range
use
of foundations, you still do
a wider
need to
range of
just
foundations,
watch
you
to
still
make sure
do
it's
need
not
to
too
just
warm
watch
or
to make
too
sure it's
cold,
not
'cause
too
again,
too
you're gonna end
warm
up with
or
the same
too
issues
cold
of
because again you're going to end up with the
looking
same
orange
issues
or a
of
little gray.
looking a little
Okay?
orange or a little gray. Okay.
Now, yay!
Now,
we picked a shade.
yay!
We picked
We
the
picked
right
a shade. We
and
picked the right
we're gonna
undertone,
apply our foundation.
and we're going to apply our foundation.
So,
Okay.
you want to
So,
focus
you
on
want to
having
do
the best
focus on
technique
having
on
the
application
best technique
to get
on
the best
application
out of
to get the
product.
best out
I know
of the product.
I know
that
hands. We can apply it
we
with
can
a
apply it with our
sponge.
hands. We can apply it with a sponge.
There's many ways to apply.
There's many ways to
But
apply.
The
But the
best way, I'm going to skip one.
best way, I'm going to
The
skip
best
one.
way is to
Theory.
use a
The best
stippling
way is
motion.
to
So I
use a
brush
stippling motion.
and
So I use a brush and
stipple.
dot dot
And
dot
the
dot dot
reasoning
dot
behind
dot
this
stipple.
is-
And the reasoning behind this is
so sorry that I
this
don't
is explained
remember.
to me by someone, and I'm
think
so
it was
sorry
a
that I don't
Santa sister.
remember.
But
And I think it was a
she
Santa sister.
said
But
that if you
she said
imagine a camera
that
or
if
a
you
picture, I'm sorry.
imagine a camera
and
or a picture,
you know
I'm
that
sorry,
the more
and
pixelated,
you know that the more
pixels the picture
pixelated
has,
or more
the better
pixels the picture has,
looks.
the better
the softer
the picture
and
looks,
just
the
more stunning
softer
and beautiful
just
the picture
more
looks
stunning
because it has all
and
these
beautiful
teeny
the
tiny
picture
little
looks
dots that
because
make
it
it
has
all
all
beautiful.
these teeny
But
tiny
if you
little
take those
dots that
teeny
make it
tiny
all
little dots
beautiful.
and you start
But if you
to,
take those teeny tiny little dots and you start
use less
to
of them, and they get bigger,
use less of
then
them,
it kind of looks
and they get bigger, then it kind of looks
so that's why I use a brush.
So
because
that's why I use a brush, because all those bristles in the brush kind of act like they are applying little
So if you're
dots, little
stippling, you're going to
pixels.
get a
So
softer,
if you're stippling,
more
you're going to
like,
get a softer,
Photoshop kind of
more
finish
like
than
Photoshop kind of
circling
finish
or,
than
using
circling
your hands, your
or
fingers, okay?
using your hands,
So
your
to jump
fingers.
back real
Okay.
quick,
So to jump back real quick, I usually will
1 to 2
apply
pumps.
1 pump,
average
1 to 2
1.5.
pumps,
Meh. Okay.
average 1.5.
And then you want to apply from the
and then you want to apply
middle
from
of the face outward. Okay.
middle of the face outward.
And this is
Okay.
because the middle of our face
And this is because the middle of our face will have
more pigment.
more pigment.
We'll have more areas that we need to cover.
Areas that we need to cover.
You're going to have more areas you need to cover. And
You're
then
going to
it's
have
just
more
gonna
areas you
soften
need to cover.
as you
And then
pull
it's just going to
out towards the
soften
hairline,
as you pull
towards
out
the ears,
towards the hairline,
towards the jaw,
towards the
underneath
ears,
the jaw.
towards the jaw,
And
underneath
that
the
takes
jaw.
me to, I'm jumping
And
back and forth
that
here.
takes me to, I'm
the
jumping
last
back and
line.
forth here. That takes me to the
making
last
sure you
line.
blend
That
down
is
under
making
the
sure you
jaw,
blend down
even
under
down
the
the
jaw.
neck, sometimes down into your décolleté.
Even down the neck, sometimes down into your
just to make sure
décolleté.
everything,
Just to make sure everything, make sure they're not wearing a mask,
here.
you know, when the foundation stops here.
So make sure you're blending it down.
So make sure you're blending it down. Blend it back into that hairline so again you don't get that masking effect. And some people, I would probably say more of on the paler, the lighter spectrum of our friends. You may have to do a little bit of their ear. My
very, very
experience with very, very fair-skinned people is that their ears might be a little red or a little pink just naturally, just because they have that lighter skin, that paler skin. So you may have to blend into the ear just a little bit so that it doesn't just kind of stop. Okay?
And some of our do's and don'ts.
So some of our do's and don'ts.
Some of our do's and don'ts.
Some of our do's and don'ts.
Let's see. Don't use
Don't use
inner wrist or the back of the hand to do any kind of color matching.
Or the back of the hand to do any kind of color matching.
This and this are not going to be the same as this.
This and this are not going to be the same as this. It's just not going to work out. So definitely throw that one out.
Did you know that I forgot to talk to you about placement?
Did you know that I forgot to talk to you about placement?
It's okay. We're gonna use it right here. We're gonna talk about
we're gonna use it right here. We're gonna talk about the placement. So don't place
in an area
swatches
that your client cannot
in an area that your client cannot see. So it was a few slides slides back, and I'm so sorry. But a few slides back, you saw the photos
and a friend of mine
of me and a friend of mine that had those swatches right here on the front part of their face, like by their chin. So again, kind of like an old, I don't want to call it old wives' tale because it's not really a tale, but a previous way we used to color match and put our swatches was way back here in the back. And that's real cool for me who's applying it to somebody, and I can see straight on and look whether or not it matches well, but your customer can't. So you want to make sure to start putting your swatches of your foundation samples or options up here. So that when they go look in the mirror, they can, look straight on and see it right here and really see what it is that, you're seeing so that they can get an idea of what's going on. Okay, so
put it up here.
Stop putting it back here.
This is why I
Put it
have
up
this
here.
little do and don't checklist.
This is why I have this little do and don't checklist. So I don't forget to tell you things. Don't rush yourself.
When you're having that conversation, when you're having that conversation,
when you're trying to color match, when you're trying to find that undertone, it's not going to be
at first.
Quick.
As I progressed in my training and my knowledge, I do it a little bit faster now. But even me, I was just doing it with a customer a little while ago, and really look
and I really had to sit there and really look and think and
see just
if what I was choosing for her was the right shade
and the right undertone, so don't rush it. Don't feel that pressure. Okay, your customer will appreciate you taking your time.
That's showing them
because that's showing them that this is an important
you want them to have
situation. You want them to have the best color match. So if it takes them a while, takes you a while to sit there and stare at their beautiful faces, just say, I'm staring at your beautiful face to make sure that I'm picking the right color for you. Again, open lines of communication. It is okay to say, I don't know right off the bat.
Or to say, aren't really working.
These that I picked out aren't really working. Let's try something else. Let's clean the skin and try again.
That brings me to the next don't, which is don't be afraid to fail.
That brings me to the next don't, which is don't be afraid to fail.
Put those swatches on and think,
put those swatches on and think,
I don't know what I'm doing.
None of these work, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Absolutely okay.
That's okay. Absolutely okay.
I like to tell when I'm teaching
my customers makeup techniques. I always tell them progress is perfection. I never want to be perfect. I always want to continue to learn and grow. So just progress is perfection. Keep that in your brain when you're doing any kind of makeup for somebody or learning anything new. Just the progress. So if you pick your swatches and none of them work,
none of these work.
Tell them, okay, none of these worked.
And
let's start again. And possibly mix and match.
And
quickly
to talk about the mixing and matching part. Excuse me. You're going to want to mix a 3-to-1 shade.
You're going to want to mix a 3-to-1 shade again. Sorry, this was back on a different slide. But you're going to want to do a 3-to-1 ratio.
I would say a 3
on the proper shade, the proper tone,
for the proper
to a 1 for the proper undertone. So what I mean by that is if you have foundation that looks real close, but the undertone still isn't really there, use more of this shade that's really close and pair it with another shade that has a tone. So if it's too warm, put a little cool in it. If it's too cool, put a little warm in it. I would go at one shade lighter.
Here's my shade.
Okay.
This works.
Here's my shade.
But it's too warm.
But
I'm
it's too
a slightly
warm.
lighter shade.
I'm going to pick a slightly lighter shade that has a cool undertone. I'm going to mix 3 of this one
and we're going to see
one of this one. And we're going to see what magic happens.
It's going to be magical.
And I guarantee you it's going to be magical. That is my recipe to finding the proper shade for those who don't just
that aren't inside our box.
That aren't inside our box. Okay, that aren't in the shade families that we currently have.
It's okay.
Just mix them.
They'll appreciate you taking that extra time.
They'll appreciate you taking that extra time to really
get the right shade for them. Okay.
Get the right shade for them.
So use
neck and chest
to color match.
Neck and chest to color match.
Just keep an eye out for the neck being a different shade.
Just keep an eye out for the neck being a different shade and the chest being a different shade than the face. If it is a very obvious gradient, that's when you have that conversation with your client or your customer and say, okay, I'm seeing that we are, we are fair up here, but we're maybe more of a medium down here.
Do you wear a
what
lot
say
of
you?
V-neck
Do
shirts?
you wear a lot of V-neck shirts? Or is it winter and you're kind of covering up your neck or your chest a little bit?
Again, have that conversation.
Just have that conversation and explain to them why you're asking these questions, and you'll get to a great answer.
I keep saying that word.
Just with the conversation. I keep saying that word, but it's very important to me, that word.
Prep and prime the skin. Like I said in the beginning,
Clean, fresh face. Make sure they're coming with a clean, fresh face if you are doing it face to face. And
if you are not, especially in this day and age,
if you're having to color match online,
I ask my customers, please send me a
fresh face, no makeup, fresh face selfie,
by standing in
no
front
filters, by standing in front of a window in indirect sunlight. The more you practice, if you're able to practice one-on-one, if it is with your family and your friends, I sigh, and I think all of you why. But if you are able to get that one-on-one practice with the people maybe in your home, one of a fellow Senate sister,
Brianna Clemens said that she actually had to do some skin tone matching on a friend's husband because she couldn't find anyone that she was close enough to be able to match that specific skin tone she was looking for. So if you have to pull some random other person in that maybe not isn't going to wear makeup, but you want to practice on their kind of skin shade, their skin tone, just do it.
So utilize your friends and family by
practicing with them. But like I said, if you aren't able to, and you have to do a lot of this online, social distancing kind of color matching, naked face selfie, no filters, in the front of a window, and you'll be able to get it fairly easily. And if you're having a hard time, reach out to a Senate sister, reach out to a Senate friend, and ask for help. It's okay to not know. It's okay to
if you've got the right answer.
Question if you've got the right answer. So don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to tell your client anything, most things.
And utilize the variety
of shades we have by mixing. Like I
you can get
explained,
foundation
you
match.
can get the perfect
if you
foundation match.
There is the perfect
if you
one
have
out
to
there,
mix.
and it might be
there
two.
is
I
the
can
perfect
use
one out
two.
there, and it might be
Actually,
two. I can use two. Actually, I can use quite a few of them. Hi, I'm a neutral.
Don't be afraid to mix.
But don't be afraid to mix our shades together to get the right one. Don't just be like, okay, well, this is pretty close. Our shades do adjust.
5 up and 5 down. But what they don't
5
adjust
up and 5 down.
Undertone.
But what they don't adjust is the undertone. So that's why
shade,
if you have the right shade, but it's not the right tone
with it, and
find one and mix that tone with it and see what you've got. And you're going to get something very brilliant.
Right here, have an honest
and of course it says right here,
have
an honest conversation with your client. I said it probably 852 times.
Having the conversation with your client
is
going to open a line of communication.
It's going to open a line of communication for both of you. In my experience, I have
friends from clients just by opening lines of communication
regarding makeup, regarding
applications and
tips and tricks and applications and things like that, and it opens up a line of communication to make new friends. So once you have that communication, it's always less awkward to talk about awkward or uncomfortable things. So
I have another slide.
I have another slide. Key takeaways, guys.
Okay.
This is so much fun. Okay. Key takeaways.
Is
practice?
Perfection? No. Progress is perfection.
No. Progress is perfection. Your girl was probably very tired of typing that out. Progress is perfection. Practice helps.
I never want you to
be perfect. I never want you to get perfect. Be perfect. I never want you to be perfect. I want you to continually
in your technique
progress
in
your
everything
techniques.
In life. So
everything in life. So practice. And you'll get the progress. It might be slow, it might be fast. It's going to be what it is for you. And that's going to be beautiful for you.
Practice on your family and friends. I know.
Like it says, practice on your family and friends. I know we're
happening right now. So if
you have a thing happening right now. So if you just have to practice, pull your kids in, pull your significant other in. Maybe not your pets. That's probably not going to work. But
even if it's not doing a full face of
foundation matching, even if it's just doing the swatches and seeing it, even pull somebody yourself even and put on shades that don't work for you. Put on the undertone that is not the right undertone for you, just to see what it does. Because if you can see the incorrect, you're going to figure out how to make it correct. Okay.
Be honest.
Be honest.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Be honest. with your journey.
Be
and
honest
educate yourself on
with your
working with all
journey
skin
and
tones.
educate
And I did
yourself
say this
on working with all
previously.
skin tones. And I did
When
say
I
this
first
previously.
tried to branch out,
When I first tried to branch out,
once,
I just had a light bulb moment once, and was like, "Hi, I can do makeup really pretty well on
people that have
me
tones like
and
me."
people that have tones like me." But I had never worked with a beautiful black
nor had I
woman
worked
friend
with a
person,
very
nor had I
pale-skinned
worked with a
friend
very,
person,
very pale-skinned friend
So
person,
I
human.
was
So
vulnerable.
I
put
was
myself
vulnerable.
out there, and I asked friends that
put
had
myself
that
out
very
there,
dark
and I
skin
asked friends
and the
that
very
had
light
that very
skin,
dark
and I said,
skin
"Hey,
and the very
I
light
don't
skin,"
know
and I said,
how
"Hey,
to work with your
I
skin.
don't know
I don't
how
know
to work
what
with your
our
skin.
colors and
I
our,
don't know what our
range of
colors and our,
cosmetics
our range of
how they're gonna
cosmetics
look on your
are
skin.
going to
Can I
how they're going to
practice?
look
Can I
on your
borrow your
skin.
face? Is
Can
that
I
okay with
practice?
you?"
Can I borrow your
And
face? Is
they
that okay
were
with you?
So
And
they
were
were to help
so jazzed to help because it's
Getting your makeup
pampering.
done by somebody is relaxing.
Getting your makeup done by somebody is relaxing and fun, and you leave feeling like a queen or a king, whatever you identify with. So
break out of your comfort zone.
break out of your comfort zone.
Be a little awkward.
Have the conversation. Be a little awkward. Feel uncomfortable. Feel uncomfortable until you feel a little more comfortable. And then take more steps to feel a little more uncomfortable. But
find the skin tones that you're not
typically used to working with, typically used to seeing people work with. And practice and be honest with that person and say, I'm trying to branch out of my box. I need to know for myself and my makeup artistry. I need to know how to do makeup on people that don't look
me.
Well, specifically like me. Maybe not like you, but like me. So can I work with you?
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
So much that you guys have learned something.
So much that you guys have learned something. I hope so much more. I want you to have learned something, but more, I want you to have felt something. I want you to feel powerful. I want you to feel that you now have the ability to say, this might be uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because it's going to be, not only is it going to be great for me, but it's going to be great for everyone.
Inclusivity.
Everyone. Inclusivity. So important. I think that's it.
So much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for joining me today. This was so exciting. Thanks, Senegence, too, by the way. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Those are the words I'm trying to say. And I will leave you with what I tell my 7-year-old every day when I drop her off for school is, bye, I love you, and learn something. Bye, guys.